on the road. So good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out with our quick takes January 20th, 2021 edition. Alex and I are going to be doing a really tight 30 minutes going through three big news stories in Canada tech, right? Is this an experiment or what, Alex?
This is an experiment. We did it last week. People joined us. They interacted with us, and they gave us feedback after. So You know what happens when you give Jason me feedback? We do more or something when you show enthusiasm. So we're super excited to have you here. We're going to try to keep on doing this. We're going to try to make it better. So engage with us. Put comments if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, or if you're on Twitter. Interact. We'll see the comments, and we will get you in here. And so the goal of this is to basically say, hey, there's a lot of news happening in Canada. What the hell does this, and especially in tech, what does this mean?
Yes, that's right. So let's get started. Are you ready for topic number one?
Sure, let's go.
We got the University of Waterloo brain drain. Are we subsidizing U.S. tech? What's going on, Alex?
Well, we're always subsidizing U.S. tech if you listen to the politicians. We sell our IP, we do everything. But this is actually interesting. So this guy named Dan Liu tweeted out a comment about Waterloo software engineers grads leaving Canada.
Yeah.
So there was this class survey from Waterloo. Have you ever looked at these?
I've never seen them before, but they look kind of cool. What kind of information they got in there, Alex?
So seems like the graduating class of University of Waterloo software engineering grads every year does a survey of their class. So it's pretty good reading. Most people just reacted to the tweet, but you get not many people. There's 107 people in this class. 82 responded. I think I got 95 people responding to the tweet, which is crazy. But there's a lot of information there. Like, what would you want to know about a graduating class?
I think the number one thing, I'm not worried if they're getting jobs or not, but I'd like to know like what kind of jobs they're doing, what kind of companies they're working for, where they're working. I think all that would be interesting.
Well, this report has that and a lot more. I actually recommend we'll put a link up to it later, but I think people should look at it. It has the demographics, who's in the class. It has where people want to leave, academics, their sex life, anything you want to know about these students is in there. So there's a lot of more interesting than just leaving. But what really struck the chord was that 95%. About 95% of the grads wanted to leave Canada.
Wow. And so they wanted to leave and they left, right?
Well, and that's what's interesting is people love reading a headline and don't go closer. So this was intention that said who wants to leave basically the corridor or Canada. When there's other people who have done research and looked at LinkedIn. So if you look at Rob Darling posted, he's done analysis on LinkedIn. And he finds about 60% of grads leave, or 66% of grads. And
but over what time frame? Like right away?
Yeah, right away. And what's interesting is there's even foreshadowing of this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these, the Waterloo's known for its co-op. A lot of them go take co-op. In the first year, like 70% of them are in the corridor area.
Right.
By the fourth year, it falls down to 40%, and the rest are basically in the States.
So
what happens is,
Alex, is this a bad thing?
I'm not sure. I think it's hypothetically bad thing is we're subsidizing talent, but people leave and come back. And by the way, I just see love from Norway. If they're going to Norway, it would be a different thing, but they're going to California. And look, I left for 15 years this country, or 10 years, whatever it was. Jason, you left for I think 3. We came back, and I'd like to think we're not bad fits.
I agree with you on this, Alex. I think this is a whole lot of hubbub around nothing. Like, let's send our best and brightest technologists everywhere. Let's send them to Norway. Let's send them to the US. Why wouldn't you want to go to Silicon Valley for a co-op? I mean, you're young, you're smart, you're getting paid the big bucks. Let's send them out there. Let's have them grow their networks, grow their expertise, work on scaling companies that are operating at a global level. And it's up to us in Canada to give the culture and the community that's going to draw them back, right? And if they don't want to come back, I mean, we lose them, but we can't just keep them here all to ourselves. It doesn't work like that,
Yeah. So, Jason, I think what the bigger underlying problem is, the reason they're leaving and the reason they're not, and the reason some are coming back is the same problem. I think that's the bigger issue that we need to be discussing.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the stuff that, if you think back to 2014, Alex, when we were working on Toronto Homecoming, that's the major problem that we're trying to solve, which is everyone should work and learn from the whole world. But how do we make sure that there's positions, compensation, challenges, and opportunities for the world's best talent here in Canada. That's what we need to be focused on, right?
And let's talk about some of those underlying numbers. So what was reported in that thing is graduating cash income for someone going to the States, 175,000 Canadian versus 100 Canadian if they stayed in Canada. And then if you then put in equity comp or other non-cash, it goes to something like 150 in Canada, but like 300 to 500 in the States. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, but do you adjust for your healthcare costs?
No, you know, look, if you're 22, you don't adjust for your healthcare costs, and you don't adjust for the fact that you have to live six people in the house.
I'm being facetious. Hey, that's great. Go get that money. And I think right now we're operating in a COVID and a remote world. I'm not sure if people are going into those offices anymore. They can get those roles right here in Canada, never leave the borders if that's what's important to you. But what's more important to me is they get this kind of exposure to some of the world leading companies, and then they bring those philosophies, they bring that aggression, they bring those learnings back to Canada's tech ecosystem and some of the companies that we're building here.
Yeah, but I think it's more than compensation. These are the two other things we have to address as Canadians.
Yeah.
One is, I think there's a sense of an accelerated career path if you go to the Valley, because people will compete more. And I think we have a culture here where people stay in jobs longer, and it's sort of frowned upon. And people we don't share our victories, and we have to make employees. We just have to even communicate internally. It goes back to we're Americans. Look, perfect example. Let's go back to the last week. Wattpad.
Yeah. I
don't know how many. There's 90 million active monthly users. If they were in the Valley, everyone in the world would know about them. Wattpad, like Canadians know about them.
So what do you think? This is a marketing issue.
It's a marketing issue.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a recruiting issue. Like, again, like 95% of these students are going to where they worked at the co-op.
Well, so look, I just want to say, Alex, if it is a marketing issue, check this out. Boom. You should be going right after this to check out Andrea Mora, right? CEO and founder at We Shape This. We're doing a marketing deep dive right after this at 12 noon. Go to TechTO.org. Grab that ticket and learn from some of the best in the business, right?
Yeah, she knows all about viral. Jason can't get a potential hook past you. You know what I love is people watching us. Any comments, any questions, any suggestions? I think one suggestion I saw a lot on Twitter was, hey, we should tax these people if they leave the country, or we should do A, B, and C from the government perspective. Like, how do you tax if a student leaves? What do? Send a tax bill to California? Hey, you owe us for $100,000 for subsidized education.
Yeah.
Like, and then other people are saying that we should give them a tax break to stay in the country. I'm like, could you imagine someone working at Loblaw saying, hey, that student making $150,000 after school shouldn't pay taxes because they stayed in Canada? Like,
right. Look, I think so you know what? It's tough because we're trying to solve, I think, what is really an intangible problem with policy, or an economic problem with policy. I don't think this is a political matter, right? This is a matter of people being able to choose where they want to live, where they want to work, where they want to play. And we've got to build the infrastructure to get people excited about doing that here in Canada, right? No amount of tax break is going to discourage people from, there's places in Canada and places in the US where you have either no sales tax or no income tax. I don't see those ones being the major players in the tech scene, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, those things don't work, right? So what works? Really interesting challenges, really smart people coming together, access to capital to get started and scale a company, and a culture that really resonates with you, right? Like, how do you make sure that you have all those recipes in order? That's how you're going to keep people here. And I'm not worried about recent grads. I'm worried about people who are mid-career. They want to come back. That's what we really got to be focusing on, right?
Yeah, and I think it comes back to two things. Finally, it goes marketing and also recruiting, building recruiting machines. If anyone watching has any other ideas, please put them in.
Tell me more. What do you think? Like, how do you think recruiting machine helps in this, Alex?
So everyone, so look at Shopify when they started. So not Shopify now, but look at Shopify 7 years ago.
Yeah.
They went out of their way to go find people that they thought had talent. They didn't have the brand name. They didn't have 100 billion market cap. They were a lowly $500 million to $2 billion net worth company, or market cap company.
Yeah.
They were known to go find people, build awareness, explain why their job opportunity is great.
Yes.
That I have and we have Clearbank is probably doing the same thing because you have Michelle and Andrew, but we need more companies early on to think about how do they build awareness, how do they find talent, how do they make it, come on, it's very easy to sell against Facebook. Fucking Facebook. Yeah, everyone in the world uses your product, but you're one of 25,000 employees. Come here and make a fucking difference. Pardon my language.
I mean, pardon your language there. Also, we probably have some viewers who were part of Shopify when they were just a lowly $500 million to $2 billion market cap company at that IPO. They're probably going to be taking you to task there, Alex. I've got an agreement here. Sam's saying, agree with me. I love that. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for hanging with me.
And then Carson says LinkedIn needs to improve because the comments are freezing. But I also think an anonymous LinkedIn user is also saying that we should also, there's plus and minuses, and I think this is true. And look, I actually agree with that. Like, people don't realize how much more expensive living in California is and how shitty San Francisco has become. You're going to probably get mugged once a year. But what I've learned is when you're 23, at least when I remember when I was 23, I went to New York. Yeah. And it was fucking expensive, but who cared? It was like the place to be, for when I started my career in, shoe shining, lots of opportunity there.
I think so. But like, here's the thing, Alex. We both left to Canada and we both came back, right? Like, to me, this is like when I was graduating from university, all I wanted to do was travel and get out of the country and go somewhere else. Like, optimize for that. Go get that, right? And look, there's lots and lots of students in Waterloo. Yes, some come, some leave, some go, some stay. Like, who cares? Like, get your talent wherever it is, right? Yeah, well,
agree with you. I think we've talked a bit longer. Anyone have solutions? Again, I don't think it's a problem that necessarily needs solving, but I do think it just take the underlying issues. We don't promote we don't pay enough. We don't market enough. We don't recruit enough. So
Stephanie taking you to task for your Shopify comment.
Well, no, I was actually saying Shopify did the right thing, and it paid off for them. Right? Why did Shopify win? Because they got the talent. Why did they get the talent?
We got to move on. Anything else you want to say about the brain drain, or is it time to bring up number 2?
Well, yeah, let's go to number 2.
All right, we got another headline here I'm excited to talk about with you, Alex. Tealbook, raising a monster around $14.4 million US in venture financing. So tell us, what's Tealbook up to? What's Tealbook doing, Alex?
So Tealbook is one of those companies that, maybe if you come to TechTO when we were actually in life, you saw Stephanie talk, but they're one of those companies that are quote unquote an unsexy area. They're if you look at their site, they say it's a super intelligent platform with the power to revolutionize the way buyers obtain supplier data. What does that mean? Is there a marketplace that helps you find suppliers? So if you're a Fortune 500 company, you're producing, not necessarily software. Let's say you're producing PPE, right? Yeah. There are hundreds or millions of suppliers globally and a huge complicated supply chain. What Tealbook does is they've been slowly mapping all these people out, verifying and vetting them, and then helps use machine learning for you to go put objectives in there and be interested in new suppliers that can help you out. So really interesting company. They started in late 2014, early 2015, but before this, I think they were really flying under the radar.
Got it. And so why is this an interesting financing? Like, you see financings all the time. What makes this one stand out to you, Alex?
Well, again, we can get into a few different things. I think this is actually an example of a few different things coming to play. One is someone that's actually benefited from COVID. Mm-hmm. Going back to that PPE example, right? It's a huge use case they've had, and from what I've read and heard, and their sales pipeline grew 600% over the last year.
Wait, so how are they beneficiary? How are they a beneficiary of COVID? Like, how does that really drive a 600% increase for them?
Well, think about what happened. I don't know if you remember March. It feels like 65 years ago. So, or even before that, China first, when it hit China hard, supply chains got messed up. Then you have a bunch of lockdowns. Demand changes. That strains so many supply chains. All of a sudden, everyone started producing masks. So, hey, you know what? I don't know how to find these. I can't go meet with people. I can't use my traditional means. Hey, there's this interesting site called Tealbook, which will help me build my supply chain. And they have aggregated 400 million websites and make it easy for me. So I have a problem. I'm a big Fortune 500 company. I need to find revenue. I need to find a new supply chain. Tealbook provides a solution. So COVID helped. The next two things that are interesting here is, we talk about how we want to grow our Canadian community different than other places. Mm-hmm. So we want to be more, we want to win together. We also want to be, we don't have the bro-tastic culture. One thing that's happened is in Canada, we have funds like Stand Up Ventures and BDC's WTF, Women Tech Fund. No, you were thinking. that have been out there early and stay supporters of female founders.
Yeah.
And I think if my guess is that stand up this may be one of their first investments, and it's paid off. You see someone taking the time, investing in a female founder, and you're seeing the returns there.
And you think that's not the usual yet? Like we're still, I think all the literature points to the fact that we're not funding enough female founders. We're not giving them the capital to scale their businesses. And now here's the proof is in the pudding, right? For the people that took the risk here with Steph.
And a couple other things I'd like to point out. One is it also plays to the ecosystem strength of machine learning.
Yeah.
So this is a machine learning story. And finally, there's a bunch of VCs that typically aren't associated with investing in Canada from states like Grand Ventures, RTB Global, Reciprocal Ventures. So everyone talks about Bessemer or Felicis investing in this in or True Ventures being very active here from the states. But this just shows the states is open to investing here. So we actually, again, as a founder, you should be talking to local players, but you should be finding your own investors. And finally, there's also some debt financing from I think SVB in here. So you're talking about being creative in financing. So I think it's for a few different reasons. This looks like just another financing, but it's very interesting.
Okay, so this is a bit of a pet peeve, I think, of both of ours. So we have a headline number. So you're saying that there's some debt in there? Like that's not all an equity investment from these players?
Well, it does say venture financing. It doesn't say venture capital or venture equity. There is some debt.
Is this a global phenomena where we're just celebrating these numbers without really understanding, how are we supposed to know from the outside in what these actual financings look like?
Good question. I haven't gone to the data source like Crunchbase and like other sites, but it's amazing me how many times people can't understand the difference between debt and equity. And this is not bad because I'm sure it's a bit of debt financing, but it's like, let me pick on Clearbank another time. I'm sure I saw when they did the last one, something like 300 million of financing, but if you read, it was like a 250 million line of debt. And it's important to understand the difference is equity is equity, it's risk. So the company's being paid to grow and it still might go to zero and there's no liability for anyone. But debt is it's a lot cheaper to have, but it can actually, if you don't deploy it right, it can kill a company much quicker.
Right.
So understanding the capital structure as a potential employee or just understanding the health of the ecosystem or what it says about the company is actually very important. But generally, I think it's much easier for PR to push a big frontline number and many people don't push down and understand the
Love that.
What's your thoughts in this space?
Well, I think you're missing an opportunity to plug a little founders and funding where every couple of weeks on Friday, Alex, you actually bring in one of the VCs and a portfolio company CEO they've invested in and talk about how that deal got made, way beyond the headline number, how they meet, how they court, how they pitch, how they work together, how they grow together. Wouldn't it be great to have Steph on?
Yeah, I'm actually having Steph and Michelle on in mid-February, just finalizing the date. Michelle is the general partner for Stand Up Ventures. So we'll get into talk about why Stand Up Ventures needed to exist, how she met Stephanie, why they invested together. And also, just again, get beyond the headlines and tell the real story. What I'm curious is anyone, I actually think Steph is watching this from Facebook. Is anyone else? I want to know how if you're watching and listening and know who Tealbook is before you saw this announcement. I'd like you to raise your hand and give us a comment on what you like about them, why you think this is an exciting financing.
And now I think what's cool before we move on, Alex, is Steph has been in the TechTO orbit for some time. You've sort of watched her grow as a founder. How do you think she's led this company from the beginning, where you sort of saw her and worked with her on her business very early on to where she is today? How impressed are you with that growth?
Look, again, I've always been outside in and seen. I think Steph is representing why women are better than men. She's built this business. She's also has a family which she's very active in, but she's also just tenacious. Like I think there's you meet some founders that have no doubt that they're going to just do whatever needs to get successful and pull it up by themselves. And Steph is one of those founders, I think. And look, she's got I think 170 Fortune 500 type clients using her platform. It's amazing. And one thing we didn't touch upon is also not only helps the Fortune 500, but it's also helping small business. And for example, another way where a trend has helped her out is, just meaning this Black Lives Matter movement in the States. And if you're a Fortune 500 company has made an announcement saying, hey, we're going to have a more diverse supply base, they can use it Tealbook to find LGBT or Black-owned small businesses and make them part of the supply chain.
Amazing. So there's actually some accountability there for some of those corporate promises that people make. I love that. I think that's awesome.
I see Carlos has a very insightful hey.
Yeah.
And Evan says, yeah, this is just, yeah.
Yeah, he's giving a shout out to Soft Choice, of course, crushing it from Toronto. I believe Liberty Village. Procurement's messy and it's tough to navigate, as someone who's trying to sell into these companies. Tealbook is something. They're onto something, which is great. Got a big shout out here. Look at this. Hey. I love it. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Well, look, we're going to be Michelle. We're going to get you to tell the story because I think you're a big contributor to this ecosystem, and I'm sure a lot of founders are very happy to have you backing them.
Cannot wait for that conversation. Going to be awesome. Hey, if you want to get a head start on when that announcement comes out, when Michelle's going to be joining us, all you got to do, Alex, you know the drill. You just got to become a TechTO insider. Head over to TechTO.org. You can become an insider, learn about the program. Join us. We got an awesome Slack community that's helping each other out. We've got awesome content. You get to meet and greet with all sorts of tech leaders and incredible people. And of course, you get to Slack me and Alex 24/7 with all your questions. Alex always gets back right away. Me, I'm more of a day or two. All right, we got another headline. You want to ready for our third headline of the day?
Yeah.
All right,
Torstar,
here we go.
Okay, you have it there? Oh, wow.
Torstar expands parcel delivery business with the acquisition of ShipperBee. I love this. I love the ShipperBee story. I love Jim. Let's talk about this. What's ShipperBee doing, and what is this? And who's Jim?
So maybe I'll start with ShipperBee. And actually, Jim talked about ShipperBee at TechTO when he was launching it. So ShipperBee is a new way to deliver products. They're focused on being eco-friendly, peer-to-peer. It's founded by Jim. The idea is lots of products come from outside big cities into cities that they could really leverage the commuters. They could have like these, I think they call it hives, like at a gas station. You can go pick it up from one gas station, take it down to Toronto, and you commute, make a few dollars. Great concept. Actually, something that still needs to be solved. Yeah. Jim, maybe you can describe Jim. You're better at it than me. You're better with people.
Look, like you said, in 2019, Jim came to TechTO and he spoke about ShipperBee and he spoke about the sort of the new business that he was building at the time. But I think even more importantly, in 2015, Jim came to the TechTO community and he spoke about what it means to be what you do when you're successful, what it means to be part of a tech ecosystem. You got to remember, this is a gentleman who is literally OG Canada Tech. I think he's a founding board member of BlackBerry. I believe he wrote an angel check into BlackBerry. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, and he must be loving it today if he still holds his shares. Because
and today he's on Wealthsimple Trade and Wall Street Bets, I'm sure, pumping BlackBerry like everybody else. But he's also built and sold companies before. He's now, I think I don't know if he's the CEO or even the owner of Danby, the giant appliance company. I had one of their sort of small fridges in my dorm room in college. It's an incredible story. And what he said, and why I think this is important for the TechTO and Canada ecosystem, he said, look, once you're successful, what do you do with it? What do you do with the wealth? What do you do with the influence? First thing you got to do is you got to give back to the next generation entrepreneurs. And he's very active in mentoring people, in providing capital and helping people grow and scale their companies. And he says, well, you got to also give back to the society that lets you be successful. And one of the things that you recall that he did, he does a lot of things, I'm sure, but one of the biggest things that is noteworthy is during the Syrian refugee crisis, he personally funded an organization to bring in hundreds of Syrian refugees on his own dime. And he made it into almost like, it was like a corporate initiative. He had like a director of language, a director of jobs, a director of housing and transportation. So
Jason,
it was incredible. Yeah,
you're getting. I see the love for Jim, but let's get back to the hot take.
Okay. So now we social.
Very credible founder.
So ShipperBee sells. So tell me, why is Torstar? Who's Torstar, and why are they buying ShipperBee?
I don't know. Torstar is Toronto Star. Back in the days when before you were born, Jason, people used to get newspapers delivered every day, and that that was Torstar's their business. Yeah. They actually, interesting is they got acquired for like I think $20 or $30 million 9 months ago from a couple high-fluting financial type people, and everyone's like, "Why the hell are they buying a paper? Isn't that business model done?" And what's interesting is like in November, they realized, hey, you know what? We used to do a lot. We did a lot of logistics. We deliver flyers, we deliver newspapers. So they started a thing called Metroland Parcel Service, and it's a delivery arm. And here's an old school company people thought were dead. They said, hey, there's this need for logistics and delivery. Let's reinvigorate a company within our company. And in November, they went live. They've been delivering parcels for Toys R Us. They were doing next day delivery, standard 2 to 3 day delivery. And they're competing against companies like Trek City in Ottawa and Swift here, which are getting a lot of love. And, Uber Eats. And here's a company I thought was like, I looked at it and go, okay, this is a vanity project. This is a Washington Post, but you don't have Bezos behind it. So it's a company that's around and live and now this is what makes this interesting. They're buying a company. And I think here you have something that's been impacted by COVID in a negative way. Yeah. Look, Torstar, great company, but I imagine, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't think they have equity. Like, they're not equity that's 100p to 1. And I can imagine, again, ShipperBee, we're going to take advantage, or ShipperBee, we're going to take advantage of commuters. I don't think there's been many commuters in the last.
That sort of disappeared. That was the whole premise, right? People going in the same direction to really, I think it was to work, being able to grab a parcel on the way and then drop it off on the way. So that's got to be crushed with the work from home now. But on the other hand, there was also the idea of having some of those central depots in the community, and maybe those have held up, but again, maybe not. I'm not sure.
But again, so. One takeaway is the world is an interesting place. You never know how it's going to affect the business. Yeah. Some, ShipperBee looked like a sure bet to make. Someone in tech that keeps on kicking ass and got hit in the face by COVID. Again, if you read closely, they haven't sold the whole company; they sold part of it. So maybe there's something there we don't know what's going on. I think the other thing that's interesting here is, you're starting to see, with the right management team or investors, old school dead Canadian companies can actually compete with our with the new companies. And we live in a bubble, and the number of times I thought about Torstar in the last 5 years is zero. I think since Candace left Torstar Digital, I haven't thought of Torstar. And just for and I'm trying to think, like, so it just says, like, as a founder or someone in the tech ecosystem, it's good to, like, everyone talks about the, with the financial institutions because they're big customers, but like, who's talking to Magna, or who talks, I can't even Bombardier. Everyone thinks Bombardier is dead, but what can be done? They have lots of skills. Is there an opportunity there to bring more innovation to this country?
Amazing. Anything else you want to share about this deal?
No, not really. You have any other thoughts?
No, I'm like you said, I'm a big Jim fan, so I can't wait to see where either the remains of ShipperBee continue, or how he helps Torstar, or what he works on next. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'll do one call out to the community and anyone watching. Like, we're gonna do this every week. We're gonna randomly do it when we think there's big news. If there's something you think we haven't discussed or something we should discuss next week, feel free to put in the comments. Feel free to tweet at Jason, tweet at me, probably tweet at me, or email Jason. He looks at the email. I look at Twitter.
So Alex, we've got a couple of things I want to shout out before we wrap up here in the next 3 minutes. The first is this. What's going on at TechTO?
We need help producing, and otherwise I think we'll both end up divorced. And we have an amazing team. We need help with 2 positions. One is we need someone that can do content and marketing, just basically help us get the word out, what we're doing, help us take, we have Monday, we have DocSend founder speaking. So I'd love to take someone that can help take the notes from that, repackage it, get the information beyond our video. And second of all, we're looking for someone that can help us with partnerships. We try to work with lots of different organizations. So we'd love to have someone basically.
Hey,
delivers whatever Jason says he's going to deliver. Because Jason has these meetings, and next thing you know, Jason's promising that he's going to get Tesla to open up a factory in downtown Toronto.
Hey, man, that's all a function of marketing. And guess what's coming up in just is it 30 minutes or is it in 2 minutes?
I think it's 2 minutes. Aren't you hosting that?
Oh, I hope not. In just 2 minutes. What's going on? Look at this, Alex.
So we're doing a marketing miniseries. Alex Panousis is the host. She was the head of the marketing TO. And each week we're going to go deep with one, or each episode we're going to go deep with one guest that can go talk about a current issue in marketing. So Andrea Mora knows viral marketing. She built herself up. I think she has millions of followers. Now she helps large enterprises take advantage of just basically viral marketing, creator economy. So if you want to learn about that, go go click on the link and join it in, I guess, 90 seconds.
Yeah. And if you've got feedback for us, we want to hear it. Are there any, we got a comment here, any student opportunities? Always lots of student opportunities. One of the things we're trying to do at TechTO is create an open, accessible technology ecosystem for everybody. So that means OGs like Jim. That means people scaling their businesses, maybe like me and Alex, and it means people just getting started at the very beginning. So there's always opportunities for people at all levels. Get involved. Head over to techto.org. Grab a couple tickets to some of the free live streams. Hang with us here on some of these quick takes. And then when you're ready to take that next step, join us in the Insider program. We'd love to have you there. That's where you invest in yourself. You become an insider. You get to rub shoulders with the TechTO community, ask questions, get individual help and support on your transitions, your scaling, your growth, your learning, and more. All right. Anything else we wanted to share?
Someone's asking what's the best way to apply for roles. Jason at TechTO.org.
Hey, I'll take it.
Just email them your details, your LinkedIn, your CV, why you're good for that position. I think if you go to AngelList and search up TechTO, we have the jobs posted there.
Yes.
Maybe next time we do this, we should actually have links to the jobs.
All right.
quick feedback for me and you, Jason, there.
Hey, look, it's noon. We got to go learn from Andrea Mora. I'm so excited. What an awesome quick takes we had today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you the next time lightning strikes in the Canadian tech sector.
We're in the business of delivering impossible things. We're in the business of delivering things that nobody's ever seen before.
If you build that culture, you'll come up with really cool and innovative stuff, and ultimately it could be the next multi-billion-dollar idea. So this conversation is largely going to be about scaling yourself and scaling your leadership team.
I want to talk about one of the biggest struggles that I think a lot of startups face early on, which is building initial traction.